So day 37 on my NoFap hard mode journey, and uh, not much to report except the fact that I'm in a flatline right now. Low energy, a lot of self-defeating thoughts, depression coming and going, a lot of self-defeating thoughts, a lot of depressive thoughts that are completely irrational, but my brain just keeps sending out these messages. I've seen somebody comment that they think the flatline is all in my head. I don't know if they're new to NoFap or something like that, but the flatline is something that happens. It just happens to everybody. This is just a part of NoFap. It happens at different times for people, but this is just your body understanding that something's happening. It's a withdrawal symptom, it's a withdrawal from the most intense stimulation you can give yourself. Like how many times have we seen it? The science that sexual stimulation is comparable to the same stimulation you get from heroin when they do MRI scans. Flatline is just the same thing except for sexual stimulation. When you don't allow yourself to be stimulated by sex, the sex desire, your body's going to notice that something's wrong and it's going to have withdrawal symptoms, of course. This is just a flatline is just a part of that. It's not in my head. You can literally look up. That's one thing that will come up in every, benefits may vary, the intensity of benefits may vary, the timelines may vary, but every single 90-day report that you'll read on NoFap will include a flatline at one point or another. A lot of people get like 2 or 3 flatlines throughout 90 days. So it's definitely not in my head. It's, I'm low energy, I have brain fog, I am unmotivated, I'm not feeling myself, but I'm making the best of it. I picked up a bottle of tyrosine, which is a precursor to dopamine, which I've been told by a few people now that it helps a lot with flatlines and just helps with dopamine regulation in general. So I've noticed that it helps. Maybe it's placebo, I don't know. I noticed that it helps a little bit. I did a 48-hour fast, which helped tremendously. I'm definitely in a flatline. I'm definitely feeling all these negative effects. But flatline is kind of like the gatekeeper, You have to go through it. It's a rite of passage in this journey. A flatline, I see some people write about it as if it's something that's not going to go away or something. Flatlines don't last that long. I mean, for me, they last about a week. From the majority of the reports I read, it's about the same, about a week to 2 weeks. There's rare cases that some people are in a flatline for about a month and a half, which happens. I don't know why it happens. I don't know the science behind it. I just know it does happen to some people, very extended. But it passes, and once it passes, then you have those big waves of a lot more serious, respectable benefits. Forget energy, forget motivation, forget confidence. That stuff is small compared to the benefits that you get after your flatline's over, like a week or 2 after a flatline's over. I've had flatlines where I've gone straight from the flatline in a matter of 1 day to on top of the world, just floating, man. Like I feel like I weigh like 50 pounds. I feel like when I'm walking around, I'm not even touching the ground. It's just insane. And then all the other cool stuff that happens. Cool, forget cool, man. The stuff that happens is downright amazing. But I know I can't have those really big benefits that people call superpowers, the stuff that's just unbelievable, until I get over my flatline. It's a rite of passage. It needs to be done. You can't get around it. There's no shortcuts. The fasting has helped a lot. In the past, I discovered fasting not even a year ago, and I've never used it. I haven't gone on an extended streak since last year. And last year, just after my extended streak last year, I discovered fasting, and it helps a lot. NoFap is really a form of fasting, and fasting from stimulation of sex. Fasting from food is like the stimulation of food. The good feeling you get from eating. It's the same thing. If you don't know about NoFap and you're curious about the benefits and how it feels, go on a 48-hour water fast, and that euphoric, super clear, super self-control that you get, super clarity of thinking, just that euphoric, blissful feeling that you get in the last like 6-8 hours of a 48-hour fast. That's basically what it feels like to be on NoFap once you hit like 60 something days, hard mode. that's how I could describe how I feel daily. So the fasting between the two forms, whether it's from food or from sexual stimulation, there's something in common there. I don't know what it is, but it exists. Anyways, meditation has helped me tremendously on top of the fasting and on top of the tyrosine. Meditation is something that I used to think was reserved for hippies and people who are like ultra spiritual. I didn't know until only like 4 or 5 years ago the benefits of meditation until I did a quick Google search and realized that it's probably the most studied of all the self-development things that you can do. There's many self-development habits you can pick up, but most of them won't do very much in the way of noticeable, benefits in life. But meditation is definitely up there with exercise. I see meditation as a form of physical exercise, except for the brain. The brain is one of the most important organs that we have in the body. If you're going to go to the gym and work out your muscles, why not work out your brain? When I go into a deep meditative state, I actually feel like a soreness in my frontal lobe here, not a soreness, but like some sort of sensation when you start doing meditation correctly, I think. Maybe it's just me. But it needs to be done. And it's helped me tremendously also on this flatline. Luckily I'm not working right now, so I'm able to have a lot of spare time. So I've been doing a lot of meditation, extended bouts, 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, 15 minutes here, just throughout the day. And it's helping me so much getting through this. It's making it a lot more manageable. I'm going to give you guys my tips and how I personally meditate. There's so many different ways to meditate. I'm going to talk about mindful meditation because that seems to have the most research on it, and it's just what I found to really get me into a meditative state quickly and really feel like I'm doing something, like I'm really getting benefits from it. So mindful meditation is basically where you clear your head. You sit in the upright position with your spine erect. Don't lay down. Don't do none of that stuff. Do it the hard way. Don't listen to binaural beats and stuff like that. You can do that afterwards if you find that it helps you. But real meditation, you can't have any distractions. It's got to be quiet. You have to quiet your mind. The first 10 minutes are tough, because you're battling with your mind. Every 10 seconds, your brain's going to rip away from the present moment and it's going to start thinking about your daily to-do list or your problems or something. And then every time you bring it back to your breath, because the whole point is sitting with your spine erect and concentrating on your breath, it coming in and then coming out, slowly. And then you want to feel the contact points, like when you're sitting on the edge of your bed, how your butt is pressing against the bed. You want to feel that. You want to feel how your feet are touching on the ground. You want to pay attention to that. Where your hands are and your fingers, your fingertips. Just do a full body scan slowly. Feel the elastic band around your underwear, how it's touching your hips, and just little things like that. Like at my little chain here, I feel how it's touching my skin. Concentrate on that, and constantly your brain will get ripped away from that and will start thinking about stuff. And you'll be like, oh man, I'm out of the meditative state or something. It's not like that. It's just every single time you bring yourself back, look at it as a repetition. Like if you're going to work out your biceps, you do curls. Each curl is a repetition. That's the same thing with meditation. You bring yourself back to your breath and back to feeling your skin contacting something, whether it's the edge of the bed or your shirt. Every time you take a breath in and out, you feel your shirt brushing up against you. That's, bring it back to that. And that's like a repetition, and then the more you do that, the more your frontal lobe will start to get a little bit sore and sore. That means that you're physically working out your brain. That means you're doing it right, Sometimes I'll sit there and like 2 minutes will pass by and I realize that I'm thinking about something, deep thoughts about something, which also has its benefits. You're basically reflecting on something, but you have to bring yourself back to your breath. Constantly bring yourself back to your breath. I put a countdown timer on my phone from 20 minutes, sometimes 30, and I just, do that until the timer goes off. And I consider that one set, just like you go to the gym and do a set of 10 curls for your biceps. Same thing with meditation. The benefits are many. This helps with urges more than anything when you're not in a flat line. This helps with so many things. I'm not going to get into the benefits of meditating because there's just too much literature. I think it's the most studied self-practice you can do to develop yourself. All the best CEOs and artists practice it. They're all very vocal about it. It clearly has something to it, something major to it, right? Like some of the benefits seem like they're straight out of a sci-fi book or something. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Read the studies. There's so many studies. They're countless. They've been peer reviewed. They've been replicated time and time again from one university to another. There's no argument the fact that the benefits exist. Don't be like me and think to yourself, oh, it's only for hippies and some spiritual people and people like that, because it isn't. That kept me from trying it for like 8 years or something. I don't know. The amount of time wasted in that period was just ridiculous. I could have been meditating this whole time and working out my brain. So if you're going to work out your muscles, you might as well work out your brain. It's going to help you with everything: business, creativity, work, being sharper around people. It's got many benefits. You guys could look that stuff up yourself. But that's how I practice. Sit with an erected spine, straight spine, and concentrate on your breath, in and out. Concentrate on what's around you. Listen really carefully to what's around you. Like, even when it should be complete silence, no distractions, but you can still hear kind of the vibration in the air. When you completely silence your mind, you kind of feel like this light ringing in the ears, like maybe as a vibration. Like my nerdy obsession has always been like astrophysics, and when you listen to some of the top physicists out there, they kind of talk about vibration, how everything's vibrating all the time, and that maybe the spiritual leaders out there have a point, how we're all technically connected, because the air is technically gas. So you can look at it under a microscope. It's technically molecules that are vibrating at all times. Anything you look at under a microscope, or under a powerful enough microscope, it will be the neurons, the neutrons, and the atoms, and they're vibrating at all times. We're all technically connected. And I feel like that's what I'm hearing when I hear that little buzzing, that little ringing in my ears. Kind of like as if I listen to music too loud in my earphones and you have that ringing in your ears. It's very light, almost like electric. You can't sometimes somebody turns on something that's high voltage and you kind of hear the electricity in the air. I don't know, it's kind of like that. It's hard to explain. Anyways, guys, do your meditation. If you're going through a flatline, it's going to be a game changer. If you've never tried meditation, you should have been doing it from day one. I don't know how the hell anybody even gets to 14 plus days on NoFap without meditation. If you're not incorporating it into your daily routine, you have to start today. It's going to be very uncomfortable trying to concentrate on the shirt, on your shirt rubbing up against your skin. It's going to be very uncomfortable trying to quiet your mind. You're going to have to force yourself to do it. I don't think anybody enjoys starting the meditation, but halfway through, it's just like a blissful feeling also. So it's something you have to force yourself to do. It's like studying. It's like anything that's good and beneficial for you. You're going to have to, your body will send signals of resistance to it. You know what I mean? Whether it's going to the gym or anything like that, you'll get resistance. And there's a reason it's doing that, right? Your body doesn't like to develop. The benefits come to people of these self-development practices, to the people that have stronger willpower. If you can force yourself to do these things, you will absolutely reap the benefits. Just force yourself to do it. Just remember that resistance is there for a reason, to separate the weak from the strong. You know what I mean? And yeah, you'll be rewarded. Don't take my word for it. Do it for 2 weeks, every day, non-stop. And then, man, after the first day, the first time you go into a deep meditative state, and then you look outside the window. I remember the first time I went in a deep meditative state. It was one of the first times I ever tried meditating. I just read a bunch of articles on how to do it properly, mindful meditation. I looked out my window afterwards, and it was summertime, and I could see the sun hitting the trees that were in full bloom, and all the leaves were just, shaking and stuff like that from the wind. And it was like I was seeing it in HD, like super ultra HD, and I could concentrate on almost every leaf on that tree while it's shaking in a weird way. I don't know. It does plenty to the brain. Look it up. Look at the documentaries. Read the studies. Don't take my word for it. But that's how I meditate. I practice mindful meditation. And yeah, that's all for today.